What's up, folks? This is Moose, aka Big House, and once again, we are back. That's right, we're back with Neighborhood Frequency. I always say my host, but really, I'm not the host, right? I'm the co-host because the hostess with the mostest is the queen of our show. I want everybody to put it together for the queen. Like I said, Evelyn Ray. How you doing, Evelyn?
I'm good, sir. How are you? Thank you. Thank you.
I'm doing
Uh,
well. People don't know there was technical difficulties, right? I don't care. I feel open. Um, And so I was, as Evelyn said, that she could watch me on screen sweating bullets. Like I'm not gonna ring this hat out after the show, so this gonna, we're gonna get it right. But it's all good. It's all good. But anyway, we're here now, and we're back, I'm gonna tell this real quickly. Evelyn, I heard Evelyn just kind of mumble. She was maybe talking to George on the phone, and she said, "Well, by the grace," and all of a sudden my mic started working. Hello.
hey, hey,
Yeah.
talk about
Amen.
I'm
Amen.
just saying. I'm just saying.
We're going to get it
I'm just
in.
saying. Anyway, all right. So
Yeah.
anyway, welcome to the show, Evelyn. Tell us who our lead contributor. Can you talk a little bit about this gentleman?
I sure can. Well, first of all, Chris, thank you so much. As always, we do this neighborhood frequency piece, and it's always good. It's always fabulous because of that personality that you bring to it. And I'm so glad to be a part of this work with you. But for the last couple of maybe three, this is maybe our third time, and I think I heard you say off camera he's not a guest anymore. We have the George Middleton with us on tonight, and we are happy. He always brings the conversation. And after we introduce our next new guest, I'll come back and give the bio to Mr. Middleton because he brings a great deal of knowledge, wealth, and inspiration and information. So, yeah, so we've got George Middleton in the house with us, and I'm going to let you introduce our new guest because you brought
For
him to the
Shizzle,
show.
hey folks, I met this gentleman today, and we started talking about some opportunities to do some business ventures together and really I say together, but for the community. So my man's name is Nathaniel Williams. He is the creator, chairperson, and CEO of ACL Experiences. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on a couple other platforms, and I saw his some of his things today, and holy cow, it's like fancy. Like I
Yeah.
need to do some on my website because his is nice.
Oh yeah. You like that?
I did, I did.
Okay. Thank you.
So welcome, Nate. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about yourself.
Yeah. Uh, come from a broken background, man. Come from a dysfunctional childhood, dysfunctional family. Start. My first arrest was when I was 12 years old. You know, I always say I like to think back to when I really start. You know, when I knew when I was doing wrong and continued to do wrong. You know, I used to steal pop bottles, me and my little brother. You know, take them to the corner store and change them in for the 10 cent. We like 6 years old. So I think back to that because I've always wanted to know where my dysfunction come from. As a juvenile man, in and out the system. Heard that message a lot. The path you on is gonna lead to an early death or prison. Heard that from a lot of probation officers and stuff like that. It wasn't the message, it was the messenger. The messenger didn't look like me. I'm over here 12 years old, like, you don't know nothing about my life. You don't know what I've been through. It wasn't no connection there. Looking back on it, the message, it wasn't the message. The message was 100. Like I said, it was the messenger, but I can continue through that path. I ended up with a 41 and a half year sentence. Just getting out. Coming up on 3 months. Here on the 12th after doing 16 years, 9 months, and 2 weeks. Yeah, so made my changes, in prison, man. It was hard, just had to face it, and I learned some things while I was in prison. I had some people mentor me. When I first got to prison, I was going through it. Continued to live the dysfunctional life that I was used to living. It was normal to me. That's why I had to highlight that abnormal lifestyle because we normalize things that's not normal. and there's things going on in culture and that lifestyle that you may think is normal, but it's not normal, you know. So when I made my changes, I wanted to create something that was effective. So, it was an opportunity there. So I started doing informal case studies on all the guys around me, asking them about their childhood, their past, their missed interventions, their relationships with, their guardian or parent, and just trying to collect as much information as I can so I could build something that was effective. There was a lot of struggles within, what I went through. I started working with the youth while I was in prison, actually, and creating my programs. But, like I said, it was just a beautiful thing, man. Now that I'm out here and I'm able to, implement the programs and working out here in the community.
That's that. Welcome. And
Now it's a lot more to the story, but I know we on the time clock, so I
yeah,
just trying to, just trying to hit some highlights right there. The
I
full story is
definitely
on the
appreciate.
website. It's .com, aclexperiences.com.
I peeped it. I mean, you look like you went back and visited some of the places that you were housed and all that. What do you say? You say housed? Is that what you say?
Well,
You're not
incarcerated,
living. You weren't
that's
living
what
there.
it is. Yeah, yeah, housed. Yeah, you're right. Housed,
You weren't living
incarcerated.
there.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that one of those that video that's on there comes from when I was locked up. Uh, yeah, so I ain't been
hey,
back
so
into the prisons yet, but
folks, check out again. It's ACL Experiences .com or go on Facebook. That's where I think that's where no, I saw it on I saw it on the website. So yeah, so that definitely check that out. All right, so D George, excuse me, I'm gonna bounce it back to Evelyn. Now that we got Nate, kind of talking about what's happening. Again, this is neighborhood frequency. Evelyn, take it away.
Well, Nate, it sounds like you have much to contribute in all of that, what you went through as you call it dysfunctional. The human race is that it's just to varying degrees, right? But you've turned your dysfunction into a
yeah,
platform that is definitely serving. So we can't wait to hear more about you
yeah,
and more from you. But at this time, we're going to
okay.
introduce our no longer guest to the show, our contributor to the show of Neighborhood Frequency, the George Middleton. He is a consultant, a therapist, author, speaker, musician, and expert in the arena of racism.
Mm,
As an expert, he has developed a body of work addressing the connection between mental health and the social impact of race as a construct. He focuses on serving the needs of businesses and organizations, service providers by developing and implementing evidence-based evidence-based deconstructions of the race theory, and introducing strategies that will help in the intervention towards diversity. Through his multifaceted approach, Mr. Middleton integrates his expertise in mental health with his understanding of social dynamics to provide social impactful solutions in the areas of diversity. Okay, don't do that to me. In the areas of diversity and the misnomers of race ideology. And with that being said, I'm going to tell you he's written several books that you should go and avail yourselves to. They are found on Amazon.com and major literary outlets. And with that, I will introduce to some and present to others the one and only the George Middleton.
and
So
and
That was like,
and the crowd goes wild. Where's the soundtrack on that? There, Big Moose.
hey, she's almost better than what's old boy's name? He was in Shawshank. What's the brother's name in Shawshank?
oh, Morgan Freeman?
Morgan
yeah,
Freeman. You better than
yeah.
What?
Morgan Freeman, I think,
Don't
with the
be doing
soundtrack
that,
of Folks Life.
man.
I'm about to find some music for you, D George, to play when she's talking like that. Because man,
Man,
that is
yeah, I don't be
extra.
recognizing myself.
Hey, so today's show, folks, is it's called Current Business, and there's lots of things going on here where we all reside currently here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Even though neighborhood frequency is about everywhere, any neighborhood around the country. Today we're going to focus on Indianapolis. Several things have happened And I'm not sure if you guys can hear my background, but I am the father of some babies. They are struggling to go to bed tonight for some reason. That's part of what the show's all about. Like I have the worst
No
background in the
doubt.
world too, by the way. It's okay. But here in Indianapolis, there was an issue I saw here recently where there's a couple different content creators were having trouble with each other. One thinks that the other one is too shows too much ratchet. This is their words, by the way. Too much ratchet content, and didn't really like it, and made a bold statement saying that I only want to be around black excellence. I don't want to. I disdain at other stuff.
Mm.
And boy, the backlash from him saying that was tremendous. D. George, it sounds like it looks like you are familiar. Give me your thoughts on this situation, the current business.
Yeah. Well, Greg is known to throw some fire bombs. He doesn't hold back. If he's thinking it, he's going to say it. I think part of it is his marketing style, his marketing strategy. He, but he has he's very free about his expression on his perspectives, and many of the times it can really be abrasive to people. But it seems to work for him because he has a successful media platform that he's operating from. So he's very he's very savvy about how to use the airwaves. But also, and I can feel I don't agree with everything he says, but who agrees with everything anybody says, right?
Right.
Right.
But I know that his heart is in the right place. He's in it for the fight, and he's a warrior at heart. And so that's his strength. Sometimes I liken it to, I don't know if you all are Marvel's comic fans, but there's a character that was on the team with Mr. X, but he had the sunglasses on, and he had to keep them on because once he took them off, he was tearing everything up. And so every now and then, Greg needs to put his sunglasses on because that's his superpower. He takes some glasses off, and you in the way, you getting ready to get it.
Mhm.
And then the young brother, what's his name? He's really popular right now. I can't. His name is
Yeah, on
escaping.
the scene. His show's called On the
On the
Scene.
scene, on the scene TV.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting guy. He's got his thumb on the pulse of his generation. He also knows how to use media. And so it's two platforms on polar opposites representing their community from their perspectives. And they're clashing. However, I mean, the young man on the scene TV, boy, I got to get his name. He doesn't
I'm looking
seem
it up
to
for her.
he doesn't seem to be entertaining the argument. He's not doing the back and forth, which I think is good. I think again, we kind of talked about this in our previous podcast. Issues and standards, issues and standards, and it's okay to have disagreements on particular issues. But what happens in our community is because we don't have standards, these issues take a much larger perspective than they should because we're using our issues as standards. And I think what Greg is trying to do is he's trying to find a way to get the community to some standards. He
Yes.
talks about ratchetness and some of these other things that are used against our community from a media perspective to cast us in a particular negative light. And so he's desperately trying to pull our community out of that stereotypical light. you know. So I can understand that. But also coming from a
Yes.
mental health, from what were you going to say, Evelyn?
No, I was just agreeing with you. I'm sorry. Good
But
stuff.
from a mental health perspective, in order to get people to be receptive to you, you have to start where they are, without
Mm.
without without any judgment, without any finger pointing, name calling, anything that can be perceived as you think you're better than me. And I know that's not what Greg is trying to do. That's not what he's trying to do. He's not trying to say he's better than anybody. But he is, he only know Greg only knows one speed, straight forward. And if you're in the way, he's coming through you.
Right.
He's coming through you. But sometimes you need to use different speeds. And it would be awesome. It would be an awesome outcome if there's a way that these two can actually come together and work together from a standards perspective. But right now, this type of conflict, it may look bad, but from a marketing media perspective, it's good for business. I don't know what you guys think about that, but controversy, local or nationally, controversy makes people dial in.
Evelyn, real quick, I'm not gonna start nothing just to get us on the map. And that brother's name is Richard Valentine.
That's it.
He's
That's it.
on the
Yeah.
scene.
I love the fact that Mr. Middleton is classic for bringing us back to center, which is the fact that the conversation we had and have been having is the fact that we need standards. Those issues are going to always be the issues, but because we don't have defined standard as a culture, right, of people,
Can I get
this is
this?
how we find ourselves at odds with one another, right? And then the other thing is too, recognizing Greg Merriweather type. There's a place for that type of energy. I like the analogy that Mr. Middleton gave us. You take your glasses off, you're going to get singed. But the point of the matter is sometimes you need singeing. Just to get your attention, right? And there's some things in the culture that are not healthy and they need to be singed, right? I have an issue with anytime we are made to look at ourselves for the buffoonery or the cooning or the foolishness that we behave in. um I mean, don't be mad about it just because somebody called you on the carpet for acting like what you're acting like, right? So I think there's a space for it, but I agree with Mr. Middleton. At the end of the day, we need our standards in place, so when we have issues, we have a foundation that we can fall back on for the collective, for the whole. So that's my little take on that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. So this is gonna be ridiculous. So a buddy of mine, kind of put a thing out. So then I went down a rabbit hole today, and I listened to Merriweather stuff, and then I read what Mr. Valentine said, and so now come 10 o'clock, I'm tired. A.M. I'm tired already because I've been up since 4 reading and looking and stuff, and um, but because it was somewhat intriguing to me, only because I saw both parts. Evelyn, you couldn't have put it better. There's a place and time for all of that stuff, right? There's sometimes people are going to jump on the car and work if they want, and that's what they're going to do. And you know what? Some people are going to watch for a few minutes and they're going to scroll. Some people are going to watch the whole time until she falls off or whatever happens after that. And so it- the fact the part that really drove me to not be able to sleep about this thing when I don't even know these cats really is that people look at it and especially to uh to Meriwether's point, they were calling him all kind of bad names and calling him out because he doesn't like what he calls ratchetness. And it's like what's because he can say, "Hey, I don't like that. I don't like my women doing. I don't like our women, right? I don't like our women looking like that. I don't like booty shorts. I don't like that."
Right.
Like, what makes him a sellout? Because he doesn't like that, right? He's not a sellout because he doesn't like that. He just doesn't like it. And he can say, "Hey, man, I don't like that, and I don't like my city to look like that, and I don't like my people to look like that." And Nate, I'm gonna have you jump in here in a
Yeah,
second because today he has something, or yesterday maybe he tied it into the fact that the kid from Texas, Carmelo Anthony, was found guilty for stabbing and killing a kid from another school. Um, they say it was self defense. Come to find out, he was under their tent or something. They wanted him to move. It was raining, that kind of thing. But so then he stabs this kid, right? So 14 years, and this is his first offense. He's got 35 years. First offense, stabbing, and there's so many things. I'm gonna lay it out to you, Nate, and then I want you to take it from here.
yeah,
First of all, why do you have a knife at the track meet? Like,
right,
you know, I, you don't need a knife at a track meet. You know what? I did track. I was at weight, man. You guys know what that is.
right.
Like I'm the big fella. I'm throwing the shot, putting the discus and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I never took a knife with me to practice, right? Or to
yeah,
school. Now, I am older. Back in my day, it was like, hey man, meet me at Arby's across 10th Street, and that's how we handled our situations, right? We could
right.
wait, not do it in school, go across the street, and still beef. And the argument was at 9 o'clock in the morning. We waited all day, went to class, did everything. Then we fought after school still. The same man that we was at 9 o'clock. Might have saw the dude 5 times and didn't fight him. So Nate,
Yeah.
talk about excuse me the state of what children maybe went through or going through now, and if you have some thoughts about the ratchetness versus black excellence, from your perspective, which I think is golden. After you said, you've been back on, man, almost on planet Earth, dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost back on planet Earth, because it ain't the same, you
It
know
ain't
it
the
ain't.
same.
So
It
so
ain't.
give me your thoughts on that.
It's a yeah. Now I don't know what's going on, man, with this. I'm having some technical difficulties over here because it's
Yeah,
got me
you know what?
froze up.
That's why
It's
I'm
got
not
me.
even sweating it. We
It's
just we pushed through, and I might even put a picture of your. Believe me, afterwards, it'll be a picture of
it,
you right there if it's not you talking.
somebody called me, man. Somebody called me and it froze up, man,
Yeah,
and it just got my hand like reaching toward the phone where I
yeah,
could
no,
see.
I got you.
But yeah, I would say, man, with the black excellence thing, like, what is that? You know, when you think of when I think of black excellence, I mean that could be anything. That's gonna be to the beholder, you know, because he could be talking about a many of things when it comes to that, and that's gonna be your perspective on things. So, different people had different opinions, man. It's just this world out here now, it's just like it's tough, man. With the social media and stuff like that, everybody's exposed to everybody, and it's like if you're not, doing what the norm is, then you're not in the norm crowd, or they're doing things to, some people is acting out, man. They acting out. People act out to get attention, you know. That's what it is,
Hey,
or
Nate,
maybe it's just
Nate,
his belief.
Nate, real quick, man, you are
Yeah.
dropping some gems that I think that I know I want to kick in, but I'm sure that George wants to click in too, because there's a couple things you said, and the George talks about setting a standard. He is consistent in that message,
Yeah.
and but same thing. You call it a norm, right?
Mhm.
What the George and Nate, can you guys have this conversation on what is the norm for
It
for for us for maybe for black people, for people from Indianapolis, from people from the younger demographic? What is the norm or the
that
standard? We
That's
don't
a
have
good
it anymore.
question. That's a good question because everybody norm is different. We individuals. Me coming from a person coming from a dysfunctional past and living that dysfunctional life, and it's been living a dysfunctional life for a while. Their norm is going to be different than a person that has been nurtured and had opportunities, and been able to experience life. I ran into guys behind that wall in Michigan City that have never been outside of their neighborhood and ain't gonna never go outside of their neighborhood because now they serving 60 years, or got a life sentence. These type of things, this is what I'm trying to put out to the community because, the youngsters don't know. I feel like they're acting like some of them are acting like they don't know that some of the choices that they can make can cost them a lifetime, their life, you know?
I dig it.
And
George, real
yeah,
quick
I,
thoughts so far on what we got going here.
Well, on the topic of being normal, my feeling is this: normal doesn't exist, but dysfunction does.
I'm with you on that.
No, normal is what. Go ahead, Nevin.
No, no, no. Mm-mm.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Trying to strive for being normal is the path to mental illness because
mhm,
we're constantly trying to compare ourselves to other people, and we're not those other people. We're who we are. So the more
mhm.
effective frame to operate from is whatever I'm doing, is it working for me or is it working against me? Normal be damned. Is it working for me or is it working against me? And so for our community, and I really appreciate what Brother Nathaniel led off with, it's not that we're abnormal as a culture of people, it's that we're collectively dysfunctional. A lot of the things that we're doing are not working for us.
Yeah,
And so
yeah. Now, I would
yeah,
say,
go ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't
No,
want to cut
no,
you off.
no, go right on ahead, brother.
Go ahead. Now, I would say like abnormal to the point that my abnormal lifestyle would be a lifestyle that's going to lead you to one of two destinations. That's an early death or the penitentiary. Normal is when you can live your life without going to the penitentiary, without going getting arrested, regardless of your circumstances and what's going on in your life, that you can maintain your life regardless of what kind of other dysfunction you got going on without breaking the law, without wanting to get into that pattern of life, because it's a pattern, it's a system, it's a culture, it's a lifestyle. It is. And we got a lot of our youngsters signing up to do that, because they don't fit in certain places. Like myself, I didn't fit in certain places. There is no application for the streets. A matter of fact, the more dysfunctional you are, the more accepting the streets are to you. Come on, we welcome that.
Yeah.
You got a lot of youngsters out in the streets, man. They got their dad talking about, how they done been to prison and how much fun they done had, and people was, glorifying things that they don't need to glorify. So you got these youngsters looking at, I want to be in that crowd one day. They feel like they got to go to the penitentiary or shoot somebody just to be in the in crowd or have credibility. Instead of doing the right things, you know what I mean, outside of what they may see in their life. A lot of times, people don't see the opportunities there in their current situation.
Well,
Yeah, I dig it.
those things that you call normal, I call functional because again, for me, normal really doesn't exist. Who gets to determine for another person what's normal? And there are people who, and again, I'm not judging, but there are people
Right.
who are making quite a functional living by violating laws and rules. And they're not
It's
all.
functional.
There are
It's
people. There.
functional when you around the corner from going to the penitentiary or losing your life. That's functional.
No,
That's what you're saying.
hear me out. There are people, not in the hood that you're talking about, but there are people
Okay.
that are living very nicely, not attracting any attention, and not doing it legally. I mean, they are bending and breaking every possible legal mechanism you can find, they're exploiting the hell out of it. And it's highly, highly lucrative, profitable, and they don't have a record of first. Let's take
Yeah,
the topic of
yeah,
drugs. I often a-
absolutely.
I often ask people, aren't there drugs in Carmel? Because when you talk about drugs, you don't associate Carmel and Avon and Brownsburg with drugs. But let's be real, ain't there drugs in Carmel?
There's drugs everywhere.
You feel me? So what I'm saying is that normal is very subjective, and that's why I like to use the term functional. So even if I disagree with that lifestyle, there are people who
Right.
are doing very well, doing the type of things that you had to serve a lot of time for. That a lot of our
Yeah.
that a lot of our people in our community, they can do the same thing as the people in their community, and we get penalized 10 times more than they do. Now
Yeah, and that's the
the Carmelo Anthony case is a perfect example of that. And you speak about him. This was his first offense. I want to tell you, Carmelo was not the only young person there with some type of weapon on his body. Of all those students and athletes and so on and so forth and track stars and families, he wasn't the only one with some type of knife or gun or whatever. So it really doesn't matter to me why he had a knife there. And it wasn't even a real knife. It was one of those, it wasn't even that big of a knife. I can't remember how many inches it was, but it wasn't a knife to do battle, you know. But you got, who's your boy that he made a living out of it? He grabbed a illegal firearm and went down the street and shot somebody, white kid. And after he shot him, I don't know if you remember the boy. I can't think of his name. You know who I'm talking about. But after he shot him, the police were coming down the street. He saw the police. He thought they were coming for him, and he raised his hands because he thought that they were going to arrest him. And they rode right by him. He said, "Oh, shoot, I'm cool," and he kept on rolling. So it's based on the difference of perception based on how much melanin you have or don't have on your person. And so again, normal to me is an elusive and a very subjective. I would say that the four of us, neither of us here are normal.
Yeah, what I'm speaking to like the population I serve. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see like the guy that's sitting back, that's controlling the drugs and not getting in trouble. The guys that I've done dealt with behind the wall and in penitentiaries is the guys that done came through dysfunctional paths, dysfunctional
Right.
childhoods.
Right.
These are the guys that's living the abnormal lifestyles. That's abnormal because the circumstances is abnormal.
Yeah. I
So I'm
got
just
you.
talking about taking a person out of that and trying to get them to the point that where they want to live a different life. And that's a big challenge right there. That's
Yeah, it is.
uncharted waters for a lot of people. They don't even know how to first like they can't even think about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to go to work? Like, I don't even know what that looks like. Going to work and pushing punching a time clock.
Mm-hmm.
To that type of point of abnormal lifestyle. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like I'm highlighting that abnormal lifestyle because it is a lifestyle. It's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, I got a youth movement, man, and I'm trying to sign up 5,000 youth this summer. You know what I mean? Because we got at-risk youth and we got youth in the community that is not at risk. But I feel like everybody needs to have a voice in it. And make a commitment. You know what I mean? To say I understand risk. And I value my future.
Yeah, for sure. And Nate, you went too early. I was one of these. I wanted you to drop that on us like in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming. And folks, hopefully you see, hopefully you understand that Nate
That's
is very
I'm
passionate.
just passionate.
He's
Yeah, I'm
passionate about
passionate,
what he's
man.
doing. And you
I
know what? Guess
am,
what?
man.
Guess what?
I am.
Guess what? If he was on a different platform, they'd be like, man, this dude's crazy. You know what I always say in my family?
Nah.
You always say in my family, like if I'm passionate about something, some people say, why are
Yeah.
you mad? I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm fired up. I'm happy about this situation.
Yeah.
So Evelyn, please give me your thoughts on what
Yeah.
you heard so far from these three men that are in. You know what? Well, George and I are kind of close. I don't. You know what though? I was looking at some of his stuff today. I, we're he's smarter than me. I'm continuing to say that. His dressing, the way he dresses, I
Oh,
am
did you see him now?
ashamed
Did
how
you
he
see him?
dresses.
I was like, bruh, really?
I
He
was
hurt
like,
us.
where do I get that suit from? Like, I don't even know.
I
I don't even got to
know.
pull it off
Trust
because
me,
my beard
man.
ain't fine like it. Anyway,
Trust me.
Evelyn,
Yeah, I
Evelyn,
feel you on that.
just give me a thing because I was like,
Yeah.
I was kind of fanboying a little bit when he had the little suit photos
We're
today.
not gonna talk about the
Anyway,
we're
go
not gonna
ahead.
talk about the fangirl and the fam guy. I'm telling you, standing next to
You feel me?
Middleton, man. I tell you, I have to bring it. I have to bring the A game all the time. But let's just, I want to circle back around. Brother Nate,
Break it
you
down.
you really have brought out some pieces and parts to the heart of the matter with our issue. But as I was listening, he's been making me understand about how we got here, right?
Yeah.
And most of how we got here, and I won't even say most, 99.9% of how we got here was through programming.
Yeah.
And this was programming that started way back generations ago, especially when we got television in our homes, right? And
Yeah.
Mr. Middleton has a body of work that I work with him on. It's called Deconstructing Race. Now, though the emphasis is about the racism that we all experience in this nation, because that is the inception of this nation and how we came about here. But he says anything that can be constructed can be deconstructed, right? And so as we are moving forward, I was saying to him, you know, we've been programmed, right? And we've literally lost our mind. When you were talking, I was thinking about what you were saying, and images started coming to me about the programming. They had Father Knows Best. Picket fences were their images, right? They had Leave It to Beaver, right? Even they had a what we would call a ratchet little boy in the neighborhood, but because of his colorism, the color of his skin, he was known as Dennis the Menace, and his behavior was pretty much tolerated and celebrated, right? They had
Yeah. No,
Dynasty.
absolutely.
Yeah, they had Dynasty in Dallas, but what did they give us? They gave us Good Times, right?
Yeah.
All right, temporary
Yeah.
layoff, and they made us celebrate and programmed us to celebrate our poverty and our what Mr. Middleton likes to call dysfunction, right? Um, Menace to Society was a popular movie. Why is it that we can
Yeah.
all identify with Menace to Society? We have death rap. Now Sugar Hill Gang, when Sugar Hill came out, I mean, I'm probably dating myself, but the rap music that I initially grew up on was positive, it was reflective, it was celebratory, it wasn't death culture. And then we've got movies like New Jack City, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about the programming, someone such
Yeah.
as yourself and what you've been through, that was something that was inflicted upon us by design, all
Yeah.
right? So that the effect would be generational, okay?
Yeah.
And now you stand as a witness and a testimony of overcoming all of those images that were set before you that said to you now, because we had Superfly, we had
Yeah.
Shaft, you understand? We had black exploitation movies, right, of the 70s, but we was cool and we was fly, and there was still a code though. To
Yeah.
Mr. Middleton's
But
point, there was.
but let me. Can I just say one thing real quick, and I'm gonna let you go on. The reason why people identify with all of those movies and those movements right there is because it was real. that stuff is going on, and we cannot act like it's not going on.
No, and
That's the real.
you're to my point. It was real because it was programmed to be real. What I'm saying to you is it was real because we have something. I'm an artist. You have this thing where is it life imitating art or is art imitating life? All right. What I'm trying to say to you
Hmm.
is that we are products of art coming to us as life. And then what we do as human beings, and Mr. Middleton is the expert in the room, but when you put certain images, the brain doesn't know whether or not it's real or not. Right. And if you put images before a child and that's all they see here, music wise, video wise, they're going to grow up and
Hmm.
think that is what your term is normal, right? And they will go out and begin to act those normalities out, right? And so all I'm saying is we have got to deconstruct the constructs that made us, as you would say, abnormal to society, right? And recognize it for
Hmm.
what it is. It was a programming and it was functioning and doing what it was intended to do. And with that, I'm going to defer and let Mr. Middleton,
Oh,
step in there. Or you can have a
Hey, real
comment as
quick.
well.
Sorry, to George. So, all right. So, man, I like what everybody's saying here. And again, once again, I don't know how I'm always in last place in like
You are
brain
not.
cells in this joint, but anyway, I am. And so, here's what I want to say about this real quick. Um, all right. So, personally, right, grew up in a single parent home. I knew my father, right, dad, whatever. I knew him. He loved me playing sports, and he loved me, cutting the grass and doing the things I'm supposed to do for my mama. But that was about the end of our relationship, right? Be good, respect your mama, that kind of thing. But back in the day, man, we had grandparents too that were interjecting in a lot of things, right? And so my grandpa was like, "Hey, man, when you get up there, get you a job, stay loyal to the company, work for 30 years, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And I did that for the first about 3 years of my life, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't like this. I actually worked at the post office, folks. I was young. The post office is a family business for me. My mom was a postmaster at some point. My sister still works for the post office. My dad swept the floors at the post office. It is a family business for us. But after about 3 years, I'm like, you know what? This ain't for me. And I got the heck out of there. And I got into working with children and working in social services. And I'm like, this is for me. But holy cow, I'm making 1/3 of the money that I was making when I was at the post office. So I got to figure this thing out. And so anyway, going forward, my grandpa was still living at the time, and he's like, "Well, I understand what you're doing, man, but now you gotta figure this thing out because you're doing it on your own." I'm like, "Yes, sir." And so, I think is that what we're missing? Are we missing that that voice in our head where my grandma and my mom were like, "Hey, man, learn how to cook." My mom was like, "Hey, be loyal to your neighborhood, be loyal to the people that you're around." My grandma was like, "Here's how you make these biscuits." My grandpa was like, "Here's how you sling this hammer." You see what I'm saying? Like it was a total team effort. So that now at my age, I can teach my children, "Hey, man, here's how you do the plumbing. Here's how you fix this door. Here's how you do all this kind of stuff." And also go to school. If you're not gonna go to school, get you a trade, like or start a business, whatever you need to do. Is that what we're missing, and Nate? Just real quick, because we got about 15 minutes or so. So real quick on what I just said, your thoughts on that, and then George, I want you to hear about your thoughts on it. Like Nate.
I think the community is missing a whole lot, man. I think that we, like the devil, want to divide and conquer, man. I feel like everybody is about, just division, man. We need to come together. We need to start bickering over the language, man, and we need to start coming together and really trying to solve some problems. Everybody talk a good game, man, but when it's time to really roll up your sleeves and jump in, man, that's really it. And I can say that and be done with it, because I'm just trying to make a difference. That's it. My motto is this: you start where you are, you use what you have, and you reach who you can. And we all can do that. A pen and piece of paper. We can deal with the youth, the whoever we got in our lives on a day-to-day basis, man. We don't need no fancy nonprofit. We don't need none of that. But let's start in the community. Everybody can be a part of this. Let's start making a difference. Step up.
I dig it. I dig it. D. George, thoughts?
Yeah, great anecdote you shared with your experience with the post office and what your grandparents told you, and the type of relationship or lack thereof you had with your father, because that covers all of the themes we've been discussing here regarding what's normal, what's abnormal, what's functional, what's dysfunctional. Your grandparents and your father as well came from a pre-civil rights era. So
Mm-hmm.
their mindset is one of, how do we survive? But this is how we survive. You latch on to something, as long as it's working, you stay with that. But our generation, we may have been born maybe just a, a few years before the Civil Rights Act was passed, but we're on the other side of that. We're trying to thrive. We don't, it's no longer acceptable to just survive. We want to be all that we can be. We see things out there and we want to do them, because every generation wants the next generation to do better than them. So what you were trying to do, that survival thing of sticking with the post office, that did not fit your spirit. You wanted to thrive. You knew there was more, and you were not saddled mentally with the limitations of, I better be happy with what I got. When you knew, hey, because that's life. When you're willing to risk what's comfortable to go for something that you really are passionate about, that's living, man. And unfortunately, the way society has set it up, with our community, we're afraid to risk. We're afraid to take a risk because we worked so hard to just get whatever little bit we got, that now we're fighting not to lose. But we're competing with a cultural group or a racial group that they're not afraid to lose, because they can lose 10 times over and pick right back up and get it all over again. So we have different relationships with what this thing called normal is. For us, normal is get what you got. Somebody's trying to take it, so protect it. For them, their normal is, hey, I can file bankruptcy 20 times and still be okay.
Facts on that.
Mm-hmm.
So man, every time we're together, that's why this our not this our platform is going to grow. It's funny because Nate, I
Yeah.
love your passion. I love your passion, and you know what's funny? You know what? Here's what's funny.
Yeah.
Here's what's funny.
Yeah.
The same thing you're saying from I'm gonna say this and hope you don't take this the wrong
Yeah.
way. As a
Right.
street therapist, you're you are the same as the George. You are a street therapist, right?
Yeah.
You just don't have the fancy words that the George uses. And that's what I like
Yeah.
about it
I
because I
don't
heard
look for the fancy words because I gotta reach the ones that matter. I gotta reach the ones that's blowing
yes.
dudes' heads off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm out here in the battlefield. I've been behind that wall for 17 years. You know what I mean? Like I'm really like out here trying to make a difference, man. And we all can make a difference in our own way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But we take risks every day. These
Yes.
dudes is taking risk out here. They robbing dudes. They selling dope every day. Like there is a risk. Like we is faced with risk when we leave out the house. You can't even buy your son a gun no more. A little cap gun to play with.
No.
We used to
No.
play with
Hey,
guns. You can't do that no more. Society is changing.
hey, Nate. Nate, it's funny you said that. That's what I was going to say. I was just going to say like, and that kind of did say it already, right? Like you and the George are saying the exact same thing, and
Yeah,
I,
different
I think it's I
ways.
think it's so I think it's so
Yeah.
cool when I go back like. like this. So this show, right? I will listen to it. I will listen to it probably 4 times before I put it out, right? And so I keep
Yeah,
picking up stuff. And the cool thing that's happening here is that your passion is being talked about in an educational and therapeutic format from the George. And so guess what's going to happen?
yeah,
We are going to reach all of the folks, right? Because
yeah,
some of the folks that went to school and did all that, they're gonna listen to George and gonna say, "Oh man, I see what he's saying." And some of them folks that learned in learned in Street 101,
yeah.
302, and Street 502, they're gonna
Yeah,
understand what you're saying. And
right.
it's the same thing. And
Yeah, 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 no
the
doubt.
beauty of it, here's the beauty of this. Here's the beauty of today. The beauty of today is when we talk about our current business, our current business come sums up into, and really I kind of want Evelyn to talk about this and I can kind of close it out a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of set it up a little bit here. Our current business comes down to household, family, connection, education, community. Evelyn, you got thoughts on that?
Household, family, education, connection, community. Those are standards.
They are. I'm
Those are
learning. I'm
standards.
learning from you and D George.
And those are the standards that we have to get back to, right? Because there was a time when those standards, your household, we sat down to the table together, right? If you look at our young people, they're all out in the street. Everybody's out in the street and out and about. But we used to be a people that were home. We were at home. We valued our family. We had standards in the family. You had to be home when the street lights came on. So all that you named five of them. That's what makes a family really strong, right? So that's
Hmm.
we got to get back to those five that you name. And with that, I'll turn it back over. But I do want to say, it's the standards. We've got to get back to the standards, and deconstructing that mindset will help us to get there. Mr.
And
Miller,
before D
go ahead.
George jumps in, I, a lot of this I heard from Nate. Nate said when he was 11, I'm 14, something like that. Like
12.
he's 12, he's missing some of those things. You know what? You know what? I still love my pops, but he just wasn't there all the time. Unless I was hitting the ball or tackling somebody and he was in the stands. But if I was just like, if I was cutting the grass, he was there too. But like if I'm just like chilling in the house or playing in the street, he ain't there. I don't see him. And so it's just kind of like that, right? And
Well,
so
it's
all
just
the
like
things that,
Mr. George said, you got to meet people where they at,
yep,
you know, and not be judgmental, man, because we all individuals, man. You gonna,
yes,
if you really trying to make a difference, man, you gonna meet some people that don't talk your language, but
yes,
maybe they talk your language. But you
they
got to
do.
understand it's the same language.
Yes.
It's just a different language, if that makes sense.
No, you know what? Here, Nate.
Yeah, I'm smiling. Y'all can't see me. I'm smiling when I say that, though. You hear me?
Yeah, you look. You
I'm a
still got
street
that
dude, man. I'm a street
common
dude.
sense.
I've been in the penitentiary, man. I've been dealing with them dudes. This is what it is. I'm trying to make a difference.
You know
That's what
what's
I'm
funny?
doing.
I was just going to say,
Yeah,
you just got that penitentiary intenseness, man. That I like. I like.
yeah.
I'm not mad about it though, right?
My bad,
Don't
man.
hey, hold on. Don't don't ever, especially in this space, don't
Yeah.
don't apologize for being passionate about what you talk. Look, I'm looking the camera.
Okay,
See you
okay,
smile.
all right. I thought y'all was,
Heck
No.
I
to the
thought I was too
no.
much for y'all. I
You
thought I was
coming?
too much.
No. Are you kidding me? No, you coming back. You coming back.
Nah, I know it's all love, baby. I know it's
Yeah.
all love.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And matter of fact, if you guys want to go 15 minutes longer, I'm okay with that. But no, Nate, I want you to understand for sure because
Now,
here's the thing, man. I hear it,
mm-hmm.
right? I hear it in your voice, and so I'm gonna say this out loud. I want you to be comfortable uh, in this highly. You know what? I'm gonna say this: highly educated, passionate, community driven space, right?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
You're not used to it,
Yeah.
bruh. you're not used to it.
Yeah,
You're not used to these black men with these fancy words and all this stuff. We saying the same thing you saying, right?
yeah, no doubt, no
And
doubt.
so here's what I love about what's happening today. Like I'm having some growth. Like I got some goosebumps over it because you and I talked about already putting some things together for youth and making some things happen. And
Yep,
you don't know this or not, but
yep,
D George has been in schools with me reading his books to children that and I can show you some video. The children knew the lines in his books when he was reading them as he's reading them,
yeah,
and that was amazing. And then and
yeah,
Evelyn is here, and the same thing. I mean, like the it doesn't stop because it's a podcast. Like it is a community event, a mission that is to reach lots and lots of folks, right? And this is just a podcast platform, but there's going to be other things that happen. There's sewing classes. There's musical opportunities. There's talking situations where we'll
yeah,
get on the panel, and guess what? At this point, you are welcome to be on the panel
yeah.
for sure. And I want you. And guess what?
Well, now listen to this. I just want to
Yep.
say this.
Talk
This
to.
ain't about like. Don't think that there was any conflict there. You know what I mean? Like I use
No.
abnormal lifestyles in a certain way. I use dysfunctional lifestyles in a certain way because this is what applies to my circumstance and what I've been dealing with behind them walls and beyond out here in the community. I'm out here. You know what I mean?
Yo.
He's saying the same thing. He's
Yeah.
saying the same thing exactly. So there is no conflict there.
Hey, real quick. Nobody
Yeah.
took it that way because
Okay. No
again,
doubt.
your passion is what makes purpose, and I want you to understand that your
It's
passion
all love.
is what makes purpose, and that's the part that I enjoy because you know what.
Yeah.
For the last 16 years, I've been goofing around here in Indianapolis, like, doing a little this, doing a little that. I don't have the same experience that you have, right?
Yeah. No
And,
doubt.
and so and so you bring guess what?
A, a
You bring
different
some excellence.
experience.
You bring some excellence to the mission that a lot of folks are on that don't understand where you're coming from. You can say, "Hey man, don't do X, Y, Z." Because here's what happens and here's what it feels like, here's what it smells like, here's what it sounds like. We don't have that experience, right? I
Exactly.
might have
Yeah.
got in trouble a little piece of this, a little piece of that, but not 16 years worth. I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
Right.
I can't
Right.
imagine, right?
It's
And so
painful.
and
It's
so
painful.
my heart goes out to you. But yeah, but
Uh,
please understand that we are all on the same team.
yeah.
And
No
guess what?
doubt.
Guess what though?
Yeah.
You stand on your 10, the George stands on his 10.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. It's
Stand on
all
my 10
respect,
for
man. It's all love, baby.
yes. So I'm glad you're there. So D George, talk to us now.
Great conversation. The there's three areas that I want to try to cover. First, about this whole clearly Nathaniel and myself, we walk different paths, but
Yep.
I I remember a piece of wisdom that a elderly lady in church told me. She said there's two kinds of people. There's only two kinds of people.
Mm,
And I said, really, what are they? She said, they're the caught and the uncaught.
mm.
I'm not sure if that's hitting you all right. Two
Yeah.
two kinds
Yeah.
of
No
people.
doubt.
There's the caught, and then there's the ones who ain't been caught.
Oh, I understand it.
I don't.
I understand it.
I told you I was in for it.
Meaning, probably everyone we know, if truth be told, probably deserves to spend some time.
No
You know,
question.
you know what I mean? We just ain't got
I do.
caught.
Not wait, not Evelyn,
You,
but
except for Evelyn. Except for
you and
Evelyn.
me.
That's about
Yeah,
right.
not
That's
Evelyn.
right.
So when I heard her break it down to me, that brought such a sense of humility to myself, because I know that on any given day I'm susceptible to do something really abnormal. Okay,
yeah.
and There's been things that I've done that I should have paid a price for, but I had somebody. I wouldn't call it luck. I definitely had somebody who decided that was not for me. But you do ultimately become a recipient of the consequences of your actions, regardless of what. No one leaves here unscathed. The second thing, education is environmental dependent. Education is environmental dependent. So when I started work, so when I started working in the mental health field and working with a lot of what they call at-risk youth, and I really don't like to use that term, but that's the term that people use, at-risk youth. People who weren't familiar with that population would use very judgmental terms, not meaning, not intentionally, but the terms would be very judgmental. Like the, these particular kids didn't have good sense, or they weren't smart, or just no brains. But it became very apparent to me that the more I got to do the work in this population, that these kids were geniuses. And I would ask myself, George, what if you had to spend one night in this kid's shoes? How smart would you be? Because I think the way I think right now, based on my environment. Now, if I were to go into their environment with my current thinking, I probably wouldn't last very long. So when you look at a Mr. Nathaniel Williams, that brother's highly educated. He's got education in ways that we can't get from books or from degrees.
It's lived
So
experience.
yes, yes. So it's and not only are you educated, but you had to have the physical and mental resilience to handle what was coming at you on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
That's a meeting of two skill sets, the mental and the physical. And to be able to be in environments of adversity on a daily basis with no breaks. Now that builds up a mindset that once you get the physical chains off, you're gonna do what this brother's doing. Now he's out here. He done created his own organization, and he's going at it with a fierceness as if he was still locked up, but he ain't locked up now. And so
Mhm.
now you get in his way, just like I was saying about Greg Merriweather. You get in his way, he's coming right through you. You know what I mean?
Now let me say something, man. We just connected right there, man. You met me where I was at, right there,
All right,
right there.
tell me
You
how.
you you just leveled you just everything you just said, man. Because it's painful behind them walls, and you spoke on something that meant a lot to me. I was in the drug program one time. It's called RWI, Recovery While Incarcerated. It's a program that people they do and they get out early. Well, anyway, we had a counselor that everybody was saying that she never had any experience in doing drugs or whatever, you know what I mean? So she don't know nothing about drugs. Like she in here trying to tell us what to do. Woo woo woo. She just got the book smarts, right? Everybody frowning upon her. So one day I challenged the situation and I told her, I said exactly what kind of like what you just said. I said, you wouldn't last a day in my shoes. And she turned to me and she looked at me in my eye and she said, you don't know what I've been through. And
Whoa,
it sent the look that she had in her face, it sent chills through my body.
whoa.
And from that moment on, I stopped judging
Mm.
because I don't know what she been through. It may not have been no drug stuff. You may not have to do 16 years in prison. You may have the book smarts. I may have the prison smarts. You know what I mean? But we need not judge each other. because we all have a life, we all have lived experience, and our story needs to be told because we all go through things and we all process things in an unhealthy way. And that's what I help dudes unpack. It's the things that they pack up and bottle up. Be a man, don't cry. People was raised in a certain type of way that they ticking time bombs. They hold all that in and they wonder where, what I mean, why they so dysfunctional. I'm dealing with these dudes and I'm asking them questions. And that's another thing. Like, I did informal case studies on these guys, countless guys, just asking them about their past and stuff. And I always ask them about their relationship with their dad. And there was three things that they told me. They told me their dad either wasn't in their life, either they didn't know him, or they thought that he was the coolest thing ever because, we get girls together, we cook meth together, we do this together. He taught me this, he taught me all the dysfunctional shit. You see what I'm saying? So I'd like to get your opinion on that. Like, what does that say to our now, our right now?
Hey, did George, before you answer, because I can't wait for this. And Nate, I enjoy you, but Evelyn, before the George goes, I want Evelyn to go first to give her female perspective, and then I want the George to give his perspective, and then we got we don't want to go too long because people like, man, they going long, they just talking, but I don't think people understand like this is
This
this
is
is
This is
deep
good.
amazing.
right here.
This is good. This is
This
good.
is amazing. This is amazing tonight.
It's
Yeah.
really good. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so, all right. So, real quick, I tell people all the time, I'm from the. I was born on 10th Street, right, Hallville, USA. Like that's where I was born. Now,
Throw it
grew up.
up.
What do they call it over here? They call it some kind of. They call it over here where my grandparents lived. I think they call it the land or something,
The
right?
land.
And and so that's kind of where my grandparents whatever. And so I've been around all that stuff, right? But sports and again, remember I talked about my dad who I didn't really have a great relationship with, but sports I was busy. I was going to practice and I was doing the things and I was doing all the stuff. And so I didn't really have time to get into a lot of stuff. Now when I started to, guess what my mom did? We moving to Michigan. What? What are we doing? We got up when the Ville got kind of crazy. We up and moved to Michigan, and the neighborhood we lived in, it was 6 or 7 brothers in that neighborhood. You know, and it was a different experience for me because it was like, whoa, like, oh, this how they do? Like they just chilling on a Friday night, chewing tobacco and tipping cows and I'm like, wow, this is different. This is different from the Ville. This is way different from where I'm from. And so people don't have that experience. And I don't think parents these days are able to do all that, for their children. But the reason I share that is because all our experiences make us who we are. That's why, Nate, we respect what
Absolutely.
you say because your experience is different than the rest of us, right? You
Amen.
say 3 months? I mean, damn. I try not to cuss on here, but I'm gonna say damn. I said it twice now. Uh, 3 months out, you are brother. You
Look where
already
he's going.
got a nice website. You already got a business. You already got face. You got all these things in 3 months. I'm gonna tell you the reason I started my business 13 years ago because I
Yeah.
went into it. My sister called me and said, "Hey man, I need you to go pick me up some tacos." I went into this restaurant. There used to be like what do you call that? What's that place we used to go to that was Ponderosa? Used to be Ponderosa on 38th Street. I walk into Ponderosa, what used to be Ponderosa, and it was like La Rosa or something or other. It was like a Mexican joint, right? They had all their little things on the wall, and I'm like, how they come over here and start a business like right now? And I ain't got a business. I've been here for 30
Come
years or
on.
whatever.
Come
And
on.
I left that day. I dropped her tacos off downtown. Guess where? At the post office, because that's where she worked. I went home to my grandma. Well, I went to my grandma's house. I'm like, Grandma, I'm starting a business. All right, what you gonna do? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna start one today. I went on and found out how to do an LLC and all that kind of fun stuff, and I started it. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna teach people how to do CPR because I was a CPR instructor, and it worked out for a while. You know how that goes. Um, and you know that led me, and I might have been like the first person in my immediate family to like start a business and like venture out on it on my own. And so the reason I share that is because it's the same. It's the same, Nate, as if somebody you knew was like, "Hey man, I'm about to sling these rocks. I'm about to do all this thing." Like like I've met a lot of those dudes in my life in my practice of helping folks as like you and like the George and like Queen Evelyn, where those dudes are so smart. Like, if you can do ounces to grams and pounds and all that kind of stuff, I'm not smart enough to do that, right? And those cats are smart enough to do that. They are great business minds that just never had the person to say, let's move this to something that is legal. And so, Evelyn, I want to give you a thought. You give your thoughts on that, if you could, please. And then to George, I want you to bring us home.
Yeah, I'm just gonna comment to say I was a mother of sons. I was blessed to have two sons, right? And I learned early on in their training and upbringing that I had to become advocates for them because there was a prison to pipeline established. I learned very early that as a mother of African American, so-called African American sons, they were on the endangered species list. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, for the check boxes of what qualifies an animal to be on the endangered species list, I saw that my sons were in alignment for that. And again, I speak to this by design because this was what I began to see. You know, when you're going through, like you talk about grandma and grandpa, and we do what was handed down to us. We don't ask no questions. We get the job. You know, we went through junior achievement. We're gonna have the careers, and we are being trained to work for corporate America to be corporate slaves, right? Nobody told us about having businesses and imagining ourselves in that space, right? How to balance a checkbook. But to the point of the conversation tonight, I've sang in the prison. That became when I began to see what they were doing to my brothers. I took my talent and I went to CIC. I went to Pendleton. I went down to the Wheeler Mission. I went to the places where my brothers had fallen. All right, and that was because I knew the importance of the feminine energy. You asked me, so I'm telling you. I knew the importance of the feminine energy in the lives of the masculine circles, right? The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. I was blessed and privileged to be at home with my children, all right? But I came from a long line of strong black women that were heads of households. And if they were at home, that was because they had retired now and they were taking care of the children in the family for all my others that worked, right? But I was blessed to be at home. But here's the point I'm going to make in this conversation for tonight's purpose. I had a mindset. I didn't understand it then like I do now. But I had a mindset and I understood that if my family was going to be strong, if my family was going to be surviving, it was going to be because I had to change how I saw myself in partnership with that male counterpart of mine. Right? Because one of the things that we've lost and where we are today is that thing, that family, right? So when we get back to our natural mind, we get back to our right mind, we start doing like Nate is doing, caring about. He's showing how the village has to take care. Even though it's a different path that they're on, we still have to come and rally around the village. And so that's my take on it. The feminine energy has to get back in her place and nurture.
Amen. Amen.
All right, Mr. Middleton.
Well, what Brother Nathaniel said is also tied into this concept of current business. And Big Moose, you had described, like, I think 5 pillars: household, family, education, connection, and community. So I'm gonna try to thread this together. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but I'm gonna try to thread this together. There there's a 5 floor platform that I think mirrors the pillars that you described, but I think it's it brings more clarity. But before I say that, I want to say this. As it pertains to our current business, we have to take a I just got out of prison mentality to address our current business. And I think Mr. Williams is the perfect real-time physical demonstration of I just got out of prison and I ain't got time to mess around with y'all. I got stuff to do.
I agree.
We got to take that I just got out of prison mentality. Now, the pillars that I want to to use in place of the ones that you stated, they come from Dr. Claude Anderson, and he calls it the five floors, the five areas of control, the five areas of control, and he likens it to a five-story building. And that 5 stories, he starts on the first floor. The first floor, the foundation, is economics. Without economics, everything else you try to do, you won't be able to do. The second floor is political, meaning once you've established yourself economically, you can then use your economic power and influence the political environment. But if you don't have an economic floor, don't even try to go up to the second floor because you got no muscle. The third floor then becomes judicial, because that's the floor that's sending all of our people in disproportionate numbers to incarceration. And that's where we can now influence politicians to come up with better judicial policies and laws that don't do what they just did to Carmelo Anthony. Then the fourth floor, which Big Moose, this is your wheelhouse, is media. Being able to craft your own story, tell your own narrative, to put the information out to your own community that is relevant to our community, to counteract the constant propaganda that's coming to us about us. As Evelyn said earlier, we've all been conditioned. This television is a serious diabolical weapon, and it's being used against us. Television, media, music, movies, all of that. And lastly, education. So if you look at it, we as a black community, we do the exact opposite. We start out with education, thinking education is going to get us in parity with everybody else from an economic standpoint. But the statistics show that education ends up really putting you in debt. So the bottom line is we have to start thinking, how do we, as a quote unquote black community, create our own independent economic base? Because right now we don't have that. Everything we need to survive comes from somebody else's economic base. So I'm not sure if I was able to tie all that.
Number two. Repeat number two.
First floor is economics. The second floor is political. Third floor is judicial. Fourth floor is media. And the last floor is education. And so when it comes to education, understand that education isn't just going to school. And if you do these things correctly, if you do this 5-floor model correctly, you will already have been educated before you even go to any type of what you call formal education.
Formal training.
So we got to think differently. we've been Eurocentrized in our mindset. We've been trying to imitate what we see, and all we've seen is the standard of the European. That's all we've seen. And that's why Black Wall Street went down and all those other successful quote unquote black cities went down, because the one flaw each of those cities made was it was trying to assimilate to white standards. And they thought that once we make the money and we show them that we can dress good and we can live right and we can do this, we'll be just like them. What we failed to do is design a protective factor around these cities so that if you were to come in here and mess with us, you're going to leave worse than when you came in.
Do you feel like that's our nature? Is that we are a little more trustworthy than most of the
No, that's not our nature.
other.
That's not our
Okay.
normal nature. We come from warriors, brother.
Warriors.
Oh no, I'm with you on that.
We come from warriors. But what happened was, and this sounds horrible, but it's facts. They bred us like they bred horses, literally. They bred us like they bred horses. They bred us for specific tasks. They bred they bred based on if you're going to be in the field or if you're going to be in the house,
Exactly.
if you were going to be instructional or if you were going to be exploited.
Clergy.
You know, they had these places in the plantation. I can't remember what they call the houses, but they would they would make a regular not task, activity, event, where they would bring the male slaves in to fight each other to the death. We have been bred physically and mentally. We have been conditioned, and now we're starting to like come out of that. There's this shift in the awakening. There's this shift in the consciousness. Okay, and we're starting to see that hey, this is not this ain't normal. Okay,
Right.
this this ain't normal.
Right.
And so it's not that we have been that we are naturally more forgiving. It's that we have been, especially the men, we have been we've had our nuts cut off.
Why you always got to go there?
Neutered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been
Yeah.
neutered.
What are you gonna say, Nathaniel?
Oh man, that's just no. I laugh, but it's true. You know, it's true, man. I come from the jungle, man. You know, and you live a certain way for so long.
Hmm.
It becomes a part of you. It's one way that I didn't want to come out of here, and that's institutionalized. If that is a certain thing, if that is a thing, I would say. I talked to a counselor one time and she said, institutionalized. She said, I'm institutionalized. She said, I get up every day the same way. I make my coffee the same way. I drive to work the same way. She said, so what is institutionalized? That's the question. And I said, okay. But I didn't want to bring a mentality to the street that would make me an oddball. I brought a piece of me out here, and I brought a piece of some guys that was behind that wall that would never get out here, because they said take this with you and do something with it, make a difference in the community, and they may help me make my changes. And that's why I came out and started the business, and it's been rough, but I'm moving forward. As Brother Toby said, always forward. And it's been tough, but it's been rewarding because I can connect with my population. So I talk their language. You know, I don't have all the fancy words to say, but I'm connecting with guys, man, and it's about impact with me first. I do it for free. But we all know event space costs, materials costs. I got programs, and I invite any of y'all. I want to send it to you. I want to send it to you. I want to get your email after all of this. I want to send it to you. And see if you got any input. Because I might be missing something. But I know my population. And I have a lot more to say about the whole prison to the school to prison pipeline. I was a part of that. That was as designed.
Yes.
It's a lot that's deep, man. What you
Yes.
talking is deep.
Yes.
It's real deep, and people ain't ready to really face what we need to face to move forward from it. Because first we gotta face it, and we gotta recognize, and we gotta accept where we at on the playing field to move forward.
Uh,
too. Just real
no,
quick,
you go ahead. You
to
think?
to 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 really make this come together, we've got to support the type of work that Nate's doing by addressing the environmental forces that's driving all of these problems. So we have to open up our vision and look at the reality of what's happening to our community. I always say that systemic problems require systemic solutions.
Yeah.
Systemic problems require systemic solutions. Programs are great. Programs are great. But a program will not solve a systemic
Nah.
attack. It will not. And so, what Nate's looking for, and what a lot of us are looking for, is it's good to have individual programs, but are we all coming together to form a systemic approach?
That's, that's
Yeah,
Word.
Are we all?
absolutely.
And so that's why
Absolutely.
I'm saying we have to take an I just got out of prison mentality to this thing, because we have to,
Amen.
above all things, finally, once and for all, get off the white man's nipple.
Amen.
Every time you say that, it makes me nervous and
Oh, well.
but
Oh my gosh.
hey,
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Evelyn,
I know
Evelyn.
I,
everybody's got something to say, but y'all gotta
well,
let
I want to say
Nate,
this
hold
real
on.
quick too.
No,
Real,
Nate,
I
hey,
want to
Nate,
good.
say this
Nate, hold
something
on, hold
real
on.
quick.
Nate, hold on, real quick, Nate.
Okay, okay,
All right, all
all
right.
right.
So, Evelyn, give me your final word.
All right.
Nate, you gonna give me like 1 minute. I'll tell you what, Nate, give me 1 minute. Then Evelyn, give me 1 minute, and then we're gonna be out of here.
All right.
So,
Nate.
Nate, go first, and Evelyn.
No, I want to say my approach to the whole situation is, man, you know, um, I'm trying to be effective with the youth. I'm a credible messenger. I'm also trying to go into the universities and the law schools as curriculum enhancement. And I'm trying to tell them my story. And I keep it funky. This is what you get. This is what it is. You know what I mean? This is what I experience. This is who I am. And this is the theory, you know? So I got a little more to say, but we'll do that afterwards. If you want to just let it roll, and y'all can just go on about y'all way, and I can do my thing to the camera.
Now, you know
But
what's gonna
yeah,
happen.
that's it, man. It's been good with y'all, man. It's been good with y'all, man. I enjoyed this.
This is gonna happen, Nate. I'm gonna bring you back. Like obviously, I can't let you go because I got you and I are linked now. So we definitely have other opportunities, but I definitely need to hear the Queen's perspective on kind of a summation. Look at that, me a fancy word of what we had going on today.
I love the whole conversation on tonight. It's been good. Big Moose, aka Big House, aka Big House. You are just fabulous for hosting this, giving us a space. And this is what we need. We are talking about a systemic situation, a systemic problem that has been constructed on us, right? And we have to deconstruct that, right? So our third edition is out. Mr. Middleton and I. Mr. Middleton is a man of many talents, and he's done many bodies of work. And to our guest, Mr. Nathaniel, we want to thank you because you are actually the poster child of all that Mr. Middleton has been putting to the front to tell people, come to terms and tell yourselves the truth. You've been believing a belief and it's a lie, right? And it's time to
Amen.
stop believing that belief and know the facts about who you are and where you come from. So we're going to still be here on Neighborhood Frequency. We're going to still bring those hard conversations because this is on the pulse of the neighborhood, right? This is what's really happening in our community. We want to, not forget what Mr. What's the gentleman's name? We started the show out with Gregory. He brought some challenging things to the neighborhood, right? Talking about ratchetness and talking about black excellence. Those are our issues, but we're going to raise the standard. And with that, I'm going to be quiet. But thank you so much.
You don't need to be quiet, but I will tell you this, folks. Hey, this is neighborhood frequency, man. This is Moose, aka Big House, man. I have an amazing group of folks that I get to hang out with. We obviously got D George, who is a fantastic individual. Look, I look into the camera. We also had Nathaniel Williams. Again, folks, he's with aclexperiences.com. He, you know what? He gave us the real, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. 3 months out of prison for 16 years. We none of us here, and a lot of you don't understand what that experience is like. And he was able to communicate all the things that we need to know about what that feels like and how to make a difference when you get out. And obviously, we got the queen, the one, the only, the songbird, Evelyn Ray. Man, and matter of fact, she's got some stuff coming up. If you check it out on our personal Facebooks and all that, you'll definitely see that. But hey, this neighborhood frequency, and I'm Moose, aka Big House, and we're gonna, you know what? I think this group, right? So for sure, Evelyn Ray and D George will definitely be back. My hope is that they decide to kind of form uh, a coalition, and you know what old boy's name is? Cyclops. When he takes his sunglasses off, his name is
All
Cyclops. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no
right.
doubt.
That's right. That's right.
And so and I'm gonna tell you something, Nate. I
Yeah,
like
no doubt.
you. Uh, I like you as a person that is you know what, you just keep it 100. Actually, all
Yeah.
of us keep it 100, but your 100 is different because of your situation. And guess
Hey,
what?
hey, yeah.
You reach different people than we reach.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm your
And
messenger, dude. What are you talking about? I'm about to reach the dude that's about to blow somebody's head off. You
yeah,
about to reach the dude that's about to go to college. I'm just saying, we all got different experiences, but I'm saying, like, I'm loving that, man. I'm eating. I done ate with y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all fed my spirit as well as, you know what I mean, my mind, man.
outstanding,
And, let's go, man. Let's do
outstanding,
something with this,
outstanding.
man.
And
Because
by
it's
the
about if
way,
y'all want to make a difference, let's do something.
Yeah.
By the way, Nate and his partner have a podcast, and I think they're going to invite us to their
Yep,
platform at some point. For us to
definitely.
talk. They said they talked about me, but I ain't going without y'all.
All
So I'm bring y'all
You
with
better
me.
come with backup. I ain't have my backup here tonight.
Hey, you know what? You don't need backup.
I know. It's
We
all
got
love.
you. But I might
But
need backup because again, these two folks that I'm with, they so much
yeah,
smarter than me. Like I need somebody to be able to interpret all
yeah,
the things that are happening, and then I can just chirp
yeah.
and just chirp my thing. So hey, folks, hey, this is neighborhood frequency, man. I'm Moose, aka Big House, man. For the Queen, Evelyn Ray, and our main contributor, man, our lead contributor, the George, and you know what? And our guest today, Nathaniel Williams from aclexperiences.com. Hey, this is Neighborhood Frequency. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. Check us out. All the shorts will be coming out. You know what? And if you have some thoughts about some things, hit us up. You can go right through YouTube, hit us up, and if we feel like it's something we need to talk about, we got you. Again, Neighborhood Frequency. This is Moose Day Big House for Evelyn Ray and D
right.
George.
You better tell them like and subscribe on that YouTube channel. Follow us,
Every
like
Don't play with us now.
Okay.
Follow that. Follow that. Follow that ish.
That's what I'm
I got
talking.
goosebumps.